witches, and welcome back to Mystic Motivation. Today, I want to talk about how we can incorporate magic into our day to day lives, how to make magic more accessible, how to overcome low spoon energy or burnout when it comes to your witchcraft practice. The most important thing here is that there is no need for big, huge rituals to make your magic practice daily powerful, and we can overcome disconnection from our practice. It's totally normal if you feel burnt out, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you don't have time in your busy life to make room for your magic. So, we're going to talk about how we can make this possible. So, again, this is for my witches who may be feeling low spoon energy, you feel burnt out. Maybe you're a beginner witch or you're a witch who just needs a refresh, a new perspective to see your magic practice. So, I want to talk about perspective. I think this is the biggest thing with any witchcraft practice. It's the perspective you're holding. It's kind of allowing yourself to see your day to day life differently and seeing your day to day life to hold more opportunities for your magic practice than you may realize. For example, for me in my practice, I realized upon reflection that what was going to work best for me was more structure in my regular routines in order to make room for my magic practice. Every witch will be different, so take what resonates here, leave the rest. But for me, I'm the type of person that if I don't start my day with some sort of discipline, I'm more than likely going to fizzle out rather quickly and not get everything done that I need to get done. So in my life, I began setting things at specific times and specific routines in order to create more room so that I could connect with my magic more. So, first thing when I wake up, I go straight into the office here and I work out. It's a way for me immediately to put myself in an energy of discipline, repeated action that is going to build up over time to get to a result that I desire, right? So, learning that discipline through one simple thing, just waking up and working out right away, it began to apply to my magic as well. And I began to shift my perspective on this thing that I felt like I needed to do in order to discipline myself as an individual as an opportunity to connect with my magic immediately at the start of the day as well. So a workout was no longer just a workout, but instead I come into the office, I light an intention candle. Okay, I'm working out today. What am I currently calling upon in my life? So, say that I'm trying to call upon more protection. I want to be more grounded. I would light a candle that I had set maybe a little bit ago of protection work, right? I just have it. It's been sitting around. It's something I already have. It's not something I need to put together. Working with what you have, just lighting that candle while I work out and allowing that workout to represent me cleansing my aura. I'm releasing what doesn't serve me. I'm releasing that what is blocking me from peace and protection. And as the workout finishes, those final stretches, I'm visualizing an aura of protection around myself. And then I think to myself, okay, it would take me literally 2 minutes. I'm already in the office. Why don't I go ahead and pull an oracle card for the day on my intention? Or since I'm in the office, right? Why don't I go ahead and pray to my deity altar to help guide me with this intention for the day? So it's a shift in perspective that may be needed to that may need to be applied to something you already do. We're adding a little bit extra intention to something you already do to get to an outcome you desire. Because when you think about it, what you do repeatedly is going to have an impact. So, day to day magic is small and as simple as that. As an example, where is that going to lead me over time? And where has it led me over time? You begin to see that as time passes. It's the same as, somebody wanting to learn an instrument. You want to learn how to play the violin, so every day, just 30 minutes a day, you're playing the violin. And absolutely, after a year, you're going to have improved, right? You probably don't have to write the letters in the margins of your sheet music and you can just read the sheet music. You know how to read sheet music now. Maybe you used to have someone else tune your violin for you and now you know how to tune it yourself. You didn't originally know how to do vibrato, but now with a lot of practice and confidence in your poses, you know how to do vibrato, right? So just as an example, it's the same with a workout. You know, you do a workout every day. At the end of a year, you're going to notice that you have more strength, you have better endurance. So it's the same with your magic practice. If you're just finding very small ways to incorporate it, it's going to enhance over time. So it's that change of perspective. If I did the workout without setting the intention of perspective, I'm more likely to go about that day not feeling as rooted and as structured as I could than me setting that intention with the workout, right? Because I really took the time to embody it. I really took the time to allow that to be a part of my day. And every single day, that makes a difference. So, again, it's using what you already do and changing your perspective on it. You are doing more magic than you realize. You might just not be allowing yourself to see it. For example, if you cook every single day, maybe some aspect of kitchen witchery is calling you. Maybe it would be beneficial rather than striving for these great rituals you're seeing another witch doing or their life looks a certain way that you're pressuring yourself on. It's realizing, oh, my path is different and I could actually maximize on something I already do on an aspect of witchcraft that would actually benefit me because I'm already showing up to this certain area of life. If you're cooking dinner every day, then maybe it would be beneficial to get into working with herbs and being intentional with your cooking. You know, if you're trying to manifest, I'm just going to stick with protection. If you're trying to manifest protection into your life, if you're making dinner, use some bay leaf for manifestation, use some rosemary for protection, stir counterclockwise very intentionally to release, clockwise to welcome in. And you know, you could put the herbs in your hand, do a protection sigil of your own, sprinkle that over the food, and before you know it, every single day you're really working with your magic. It's giving yourself permission to be the witch that makes sense for your life. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. And wasn't that something I needed to hear? That was something that was difficult for me at the beginning of my journey, was my expectation of who I thought I needed to be versus what actually was meant for me, who I actually am. And that could be a huge part of it, you know. Don't pressure yourself to be in, you know, practicing a certain kind of magic that really honestly might not be the best kind of magic for you. You really might realize something simple, something you're kind of already doing is the best magic for you. And I want to kind of segue here to say you can absolutely still find room in your day to day as well to learn new magic that's calling you. But I'm just saying that it's beneficial to go ahead and work with things you're already doing and adding magic to it and building upon that. And you can still create space to learn something that's calling you. So still giving permission there and saying, I'm not saying not to dive into what you're interested into, but just kind of, you know, balance things, weigh things, look at things, and just have clarity on what is really going to benefit you. So throwing in there, how can we work with magic day to day, but also how can we learn more magic practices if you're busy, is kind of changing again your perspective on your routines. If you know, for example, that you have a 20-minute drive to work or a specific place you go to each day and a 20-minute drive back, and that you love during that time listening to music, maybe a slight sacrifice you can make that could benefit you and incorporating learning new magic each day is just one of those 20-minute rides, maybe just on the ride back home. You're listening to a podcast or an audiobook of a specific subsect of magic, or just learning about magic or empowering yourself within magic that's going to build up over time and really help you. You know, you're connecting to that energy, you're making more room for it, and again, that's going to have results over time. So there are many ways we could begin to shift our lives just a little bit to welcome in more learning and welcome in just magic into our day to day. And you know, that is something I do. Again, this is coming from a witch that is very eclectic. I have a Capricorn sun, so you know, structure is my foundation, and kind of repeated acts are very helpful to me. That might not be your go-to. Maybe the best advice that you need to hear is to give yourself more grace and going with the flow with your practice, because this still happens for me sometimes where it's like, okay, I have a general routine of how I apply magic into my life or how I'm creating room to learn new things. But you might have a sudden call of a sudden one day, like, okay, normally I'm cooking myself a meal and working, you're, dabbling in kitchen witchery and you're working towards a certain manifestation, but you're like, I kind of tonight want to just throw in a frozen lasagna, and I feel called while that's cooking for an hour to go do a ritual, and I want to go reference something. I want to learn a new ritual. I want to learn something new and practice that. Absolutely 100% do that. It's going to happen. You'll have days where you feel energetic enough to do that. Really lean into it. Allow yourself to also kind of bend your own rules. If you're somebody that's setting rules to yourself to create more magic day to day, like, you can break those on occasion. And you absolutely should, because that's where those magical moments come as well. You begin to experiment and find new things that you're like, oh, I want to do this kind of more often, maybe once a week. I'm going to start doing that. Like, I'm going to this original routine I had to connect with my magic, lay off it a little bit and try something new. So, giving yourself grace, no more pressure, no more feeling like your magic practice has to look a certain way, gives us permission to embody it in new ways. And again, I just can't say enough that, like, a shift in perspective, I think, is the biggest thing. Me taking a shower is not just taking a shower when it used to be for years. Now showering is a time for me to do glamour magic. I put a little bit of spell oils with specific intentions and different body washes and different shampoos and conditioners to work with whatever I'm wanting to work with. And I'm rubbing it on my body or I'm rubbing it into my hair. And it's becoming a time that's it's just magic to work with this intention. And I have a playlist on that's working with a specific intention for that shower, right? So if I'm wanting to attract an opportunity, I'm using attraction oil in a little bit in my shampoo, and I'm using a playlist. I'm playing a playlist that has to do with, being attractive, opportunities, success, whatever it is. And the same thing, when you get out of the shower, you're not just drying off and going to bed, but instead, or whenever you take a shower, you're, using that opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and cast a layer of protection over my hair, right? I'm going to smoke cleanse my hair a little bit. I might put a little bit of a specific intentional oil into my hand and scrunch that into my hair a little bit. It just becomes an opportunity that really simple things can become your practice. And it doesn't have to be super impressive. It doesn't have to be impressive. I think one of my biggest spiritual practices that I do is actually just like being really intentional with the music I listen to. Like, if I'm working towards a specific thing, my daily music for weeks, months will be about a specific topic. And it can be really helpful to be that way. It's just being, witchcraft, after all, is symbolism. And when you start to really work with symbolism and the music and your certain routines, talk about how day to day magic becomes really simple, really easy. So, with all this being said, I don't want this to come across in a way where you feel overwhelmed and now all of a sudden you feel like you have to, okay, I cook every day and I do this workout every day and I'm driving every day. I need to change all of these things at once to incorporate magic into my day to day. That's going to lead to burnout as well. My best advice is to just pick one thing. Okay, every day you have a 20-minute ride to work. Let's maybe set some intentional music on for whatever you're working towards. Maybe on the ride back, you decide, let me listen to this podcast or this audio book that is talking about something that I want to learn, talking about something I want to learn. And just that built up over weeks, months, eventually years, if it really takes root, will create such long-term, magnificent, and powerful change. And as that roots, when you feel called to add an extra thing, okay, my daily workout, it's just not a workout anymore. It's really a time that I'm connecting with my body and I can work with a specific intention. Maybe you do kind of like how I do, and you light a candle for that specific intention. You're using that as times as you're winding down to connect with a deity or a guide that you talk to. You're using your showers as a time to cleanse your energy, to visualize, to set a certain intention. Just slowly build up what resonates for you. I can only speak from my experience and what I do. The best thing you could do is take what resonates for you and just absolutely just leave the rest. Just leave the rest. Making time for learning new magic is more accessible as you've built up magic and what already aligns with your life, and realizing you're already doing magic. But how much more powerful could it be if you're more intentional with it? hmm that part. So I hope this video helped somebody kind of see their life in a different perspective, realize that there are so many opportunities to incorporate magic into your day-to-day life. It does not have to be impressive. It does not have to be impressive. It doesn't have to be huge ritualistic things. When you feel the call to shift and to do something more expansive, follow that, but don't pressure yourself to do it, and know that it's not necessary for day to day, and know that you don't have to be disconnected from your practice anymore. You can connect with it in very small, accessible, bite-sized pieces. You don't have to be overwhelmed by the things you want to learn. You can just bring in a little bit each day to just learn a little bit, and it really grows over time. When you break it into small size pieces, that's much better than completely avoiding it because you're intimidated by feeling like you have to do everything at once. We want to avoid pressure and instead welcome in maybe some structure and maybe a slight difference in perspective. I do want to say that if you are a witch that is looking for a little bit of structure, you resonate with the structure aspect you may be needing, that is exactly why I started the Scarlet Rose Coven. It's a space where you gain access to a portal that has everything in there to help amplify your journey without all the pressure. So when you join the Scarlet Rose Coven, we do gather once a month to do sacred practices together. But if you're not able to show up to the live Zoom call, that Zoom recording is placed into your portal. So you can watch it at any time that it's accessible to you, at any time you feel like you can really show up to it. And each month I upload a new either workbook or meditation. So there's already an arsenal of workbooks and meditations in the portal that you could show up to when you want to learn, when you want to dive deep into it and you feel like you have the room for it. It's all in one space for you. We also have a Discord chat where we talk with each other and you can express, what you want to share with the group. You can ask questions, you can share wins, you can really just express yourself in this space, which is so important in a journey of witchcraft, feeling like you're not alone and you can receive guidance. And hearing other people's perspectives, even sometimes when it's super simple, is kind of like the wake up call we need. I can't even think of the amount of times that somebody has said something really simple and I'm like, wow, like I actually really needed to hear that. It's so beneficial to have others that you could communicate with in a witchcraft journey, to where you don't feel like you have to do it alone. We're absolutely not meant to. Community is so essential. And it's just a really wonderful space. If that piques your interest at all, I'll put more details in the caption down below. And you can also go to the link in my bio, click the Covens tab, and you can find out everything there. So thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, drop a comment, and maybe send this to another witch that needs to know that magic doesn't have to be impressive. It's just a day-to-day intention. Much love, witches, and I'll see you back here soon.